And now I'm joined by Julie Beal. Julie's a single mum from North Wales, and her website is getmindsmart.com. Getmind, got to try and pronounce that right so you understand exactly what I'm saying. Getmindsmart.com. Hi Julie, and welcome to Dialect.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Now, you've been looking into Global Smart ID. What is this?
Global Smart ID is a name that I've applied to it, but it's only got a name that the experts use at the moment, which is Federated ID. They've only just started trying to sell it to the public, but it's not been talked about in the public or aired in the media.
Okay, well, so what's the idea of it?
The idea of Global Smart ID is to identify yourself remotely over the internet for payments, for accessing services online, including government services, because the UK government is about to make all of its services, all of them are going to be online only.
Well, it certainly seems like the government is trying to push everything online. I mean, with this universal credit, that's just one thing, but it seems like a lot of things, they're trying to make everything happen online. Things like accounting, submitting accounts, tax returns, all this kind of thing. So the idea is that you remotely, online, can identify who you are. So why haven't we heard about this in the news? It's a massive story.
I've absolutely no idea why it's not being aired in the news, especially with all the stuff with the NSA at the moment, because this is going to entail even more profiling of individual people.
So what's the connection, though, Julie? What's the connection between this and the NSA GCHQ story?
Well, it's sold as something. You know, when they start marketing it, they say, we will protect your identity for you. So it's an identity provider like Google or PayPal or Microsoft, Verizon, Experian. They will look after all of your credentials for you. So everything is digitized. Your passport, your driving license, your employment ID, everything will be digitized, the birth certificate, and it's effectively handing all of those things over to an identity provider, and they will authorize your access to things online, including government services.
Well, hang on a minute, because, surely that may be something the government should do, but surely not private companies. I mean, why should I go to Microsoft in order to guarantee who I am? Because then they're going to start charging for that service. They're going to start having,
They won't charge us. They're not going to charge us.
Yeah, but they're charging the government. Rather than do it themselves, the government are privatising this even before it's begun.
Yes, I know, and they're very proud of it as well. It's all about outsourcing. Everything today is being outsourced, and this is yet another thing. All of our government is being handed over to American corporations, and everything is being stored in the cloud, including all of our social ID profiles, which are very, very, very specific.
Well, just give us an idea of how detailed they go, these profiles.
Well, it depends what kind of footprint you've made online. So all the little breadcrumbs, anything you've done, if you've bought something, if you've commented online, anything leaves a mark, and it is there forever.
Well,
and there are companies now that can sweep it all up, and it's called a social profile or a social ID, and it's used by marketers, and the government is planning to use it for people to access their benefits online, which is coming with universal credit, and this is going to affect me.
Well, why can't we just ignore this?
Because I won't be able to get benefits unless I sign in with an identity provider online, and it's more than likely going to be using biometrics, although in the sense that it's looking like going to the post office with your passport, because that is biometric, or your NHS staff card. So yes, biometrics are enrolled. They tell you that they keep all your information private. Now really, it does become more private, but only in the sense that instead of signing up, or, like if you register with a website and you have to, say if you're going to buy something from someone and you register, instead of doing that, you just click on Google or Yahoo or Facebook and sign in this way. This is what this federated login is. And as soon as you do that, all of your information is shared with all the other people who have got signed up with Truly You or Jan Rain, other companies which are aggregating this data. But the actual website owner, instead of having the registration process themselves, outsources it to the identity provider. So the identity provider is a go-between, and it's the website owner that pays for the service. For us, it's free because they're selling our data.
Amazing. And this really does hook in, doesn't it, very, very closely with all of the data that's being trawled and collected by GCHQ, the Signals Intelligence people, and the National Security Agency. The trouble, of course, is that a lot of information that we are, when we use the internet, particularly, maybe our phone as well, that starts to become a valuable commodity, particularly for advertisers.
Extremely. All the power is shifting. It's all private.
And I mean, is there any way, do you think, that to avoid having this? I mean, you mentioned benefits. Obviously, if you need your benefit, you're going to have to buy into this global smart ID. But is there any way to avoid it?
It's also heralding the disappearance of cash. And I just want to mention that with Bitcoin and things like the bricks and pound, which it's a community currency.
That's right. These are alternative currencies, aren't they?
Yeah, which obviously I really back all of the principles of them, but you have to picture it as a global system. If any of those succeed on a large scale, then they also require ID, authentication online. So that it's all about trust. This is the word that goes all the way through. Trust and if we have a whole world full of everyone's got a local currency and they're all digital, then you don't know who you're dealing with, and you will have to have this kind of ID authentication system as well. So it's coming at us from all sides, and at the moment the banks are going to be, it won't be long until if you want to make a payment online, and that you'll have to do it by going through an ID provider first, and then not long after that there won't be any more cash. So all transactions will be recorded and auditable, and then everything is stored on a little chip. And at the moment the technology is shifting. It's going to either be on a smart card or just in your smartphone. So basically the smart cards are until everyone's got a smartphone, and that contains, that little chip, all of your, your ability to access your ID online and prove that's who you are. So if that's used for everything, it's just ridiculous that we're turning this society into one that relies on tiny little microchips and a large,
Well, it's a bit Orwellian, Julie, isn't it? And I mean, I'm also a bit concerned because we know that the RFID chips, radio frequency identification chips, are being used, at least trialled anyway, in schools. And the idea is to get young people used to using these little tiny chip things. No one really knows where can read them. So, kids could be tracked even whilst they've left school if they've got their chip with them. And it's almost like the way to get the society used to using this technology is to actually try and make it attractive to young people.
Yes, absolutely. It is really important to remember where this goes. It's definitely, at the moment, there's no doubt that it's all going into this little chip, and it will either be in a card or on your phone. So then comes the question of what happens if you lose it, or it's stolen. It's so obvious that is an immediate threat in the very, very near future. And the only option is to have it under your skin. Or, because I've looked into this in some detail, to use biometrics such as ones that monitor your heart rate or brain waves, and those are also technologies which enable ID profiling. There's a lot you can tell just from that, and you can monitor people from a distance.
But amazing, Julie. It sounds like Big Brother is just around the corner, and what annoys me. What annoys me is that there's been so little coverage in the national press over these things, and the technologies are being brought in. First of all, with no legal framework around them, so the people who own those technologies can just simply do what they want. And secondly, with absolutely no consent by the public. Anyway, it's a fascinating subject you brought up, and brilliant article. When I read your article about this, I thought it was really fascinating. Can you just tell us whereabouts we can go online? Obviously, you've got your own website. It's getmindsmart.com, getmindsmart.com. Where else can we go online to find out more about this?
Well, I found out about it by going to all of the actual companies, having a look through all the conference agendas, reading minutes from meetings, listening to lectures and webinars on YouTube, and I've put up a lot of links on my website. But the only reason I keep on going is because I'm trying to get other people to talk about this. I cannot believe that I seem to be the only one that's going, excuse me, this has got to stop. This has got to change. So if there's anyone else out there, please look at my website, do the research, and start telling other people about this, please.
Well, I can say, Julie Beal, is thanks very much for bringing it to our attention. I think you've done a fantastic job, and you're a single mum in North Wales. I'm sure there's lots of other people out there and the media that can take this on into the future.
All of my articles are at activistpost.com as well, so just a thumbs up to them and say thank you very much.
Well, no, thank you, Julie Beal, very much for being on Dialect today.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Representing the entire city, this is BCFM 93.2.